Welcome back. Let's continue to this now. The City of Ekurhuleni has addressed a major issue affecting road safety and law enforcement in the metro. Since October last year, the Ekurhuleni Metro Police Department had reportedly been unable to issue, process or capture traffic fines due to the expiration of a contract with a road safety and fine management service provider on September 30th. For more on this, let's now speak to Moloko Monyepao, EMPD's Chief Information Officer. Thank you so much for your time this afternoon, Moloko. How has this inability to issue and process these fines since October last year impacted on road safety and law enforcement in especially Ekurhuleni?
Thanks, Monati. Good afternoon to the listeners. We were caught by a surprise to hear that we are unable to actually issue fines since October. Let's give clarity. We had a contract with a company called Sintel. The contract expired in June. Before June, it was extended for 3 months to allow for a transition between us and Sintel. But that relationship was very difficult because even during that time where we were supposed to transition, there's a lot of challenges that we've experienced whereby they refused to give us our data because the data was sitting in their own data center. The intention of the city is to have their own system, their own data sitting in their own environment to avoid issues of POPIA and to avoid whereby when there's a challenge with the service provider where the services are switched off. So we've been moving with that towards that direction with a number of service providers. And every time we get to that point, we get pushback from service providers and we get such a media statement whereby even ourselves were not given an opportunity to respond. Like the article that came last week or over the weekend, whereby they were talking and some internal memos actually being presented even in the system, in the paper. But what I can tell you, we have been able to issue fines. EMPD is issuing fines. There's books that EMPD is using to issue fines, and those books are captured into our system. Sintel contract ended in September, but they set in our environment until December. We even have some fines that were issued by Sintel until December. There was a legal process between us and Sintel to make sure that they vacate our area so that we can actually migrate to our own system.
So the system was meant to go live on the 11th of January. Can you confirm that that has indeed happened? And since then, have you been able to capture, some of those fines that you had captured manually onto the system? What has happened since then?
Okay, let's start by the yes. It went. Let's start there. Yes, it went live on the 11th of January. We had the training as per the memo that was actually leaked. But also remember that we're saying we had a contractual obligation until September. When Sintel never wanted to leave our premises, they continued capturing until around December or so. Because I'm saying we're still receiving fines from Sintel. We're still receiving fines from Sintel until December, whereas there was still this contractual discussion between the city and Sintel. They provided us with the data, all the data that was sitting with them around December, and which was part of this data. Then they provided us with the last bit of the data in January, meaning that everything that they captured in December and from September until December, it should be in our system. So anything that is not in our system, that means Sintel is withholding that information illegal. But since the 11th of January, we've been able to capture our own files. We are monitoring on a daily basis. I can send you even for the last week. From Monday to Saturday or to Friday, what the city has captured in terms of the funds.
And very quickly, as we wrap our conversation, what measures have you then put in place to ensure that traffic fine processing resumes efficiently, or something at least like this never happens again?
Yes. It's exactly why we took over the entire process, because the entire process was fully outsourced with Sintel running the entire EMPD. And and for us, it was they were actually getting paid and getting money from the city, and our revenue was not as big as other cities in terms of hosting. So we have taken over the services. The services is fully controlled by us, ICT from the system point of view, and EMPD from the people that are capturing on the system is not Sintel's resources anymore. Whereby when there's a contractual issues like this, they stop capturing. The people that are capturing now are our internal people that were hired years ago to do this specific work, but they were never given an opportunity to do it. Now they are the ones who are capturing on our system. So the system is fully in control by the city.
I'm wondering then who allowed this to go on initially? I mean, I would imagine that whoever authorized an external resource to come in when you have hired internal resources, what has happened to that individual?
So that's some of the things that legal has been on the ball. There's consequence management that is happening. If you are aware, there are a lot of issues that happened within the EMPD in the past year. Some of these issues that you see that are transpiring now and you start seeing them is because of some of the challenges that you've seen on the papers about EMPD, that issue and this issue. So when you open up the system, that's when we saw some of these things. And then there's consequence management, there's legal issue, things there's people that some of them are resigning, and because of exactly that this issue, because we want the project managers to take accountability of this thing, because even when we requested a close-up report, it's still a challenge. They haven't received the close-up report of Sintel to date. We've been asking for this since June. And people are playing politics, and they don't want to give us this information. And hence, there's consequence management that is currently on the way with our legal department.
Moloko, thank you so much for that update. Moloko Monyepao is the EMPD's Chief Information Officer. Of course, we understand that there are some other issues within that department that also speak to the way in which some vehicles have been maintained. But we'll continue to monitor developments in that situation.